Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Oklahoma Sports Scene, presented by Jimmy's Egg. I'm Chris Lincoln, along with the Tulsa Public Schools Athletic Director, Hall of Famer Gil Cotton, Hall of Fame basketball coach J.V. Haney. Glad you're with us today. And guys, got a busy show as we wrap up college football the season here, and have some good guests coming up too.
Well, we have some great guests. John Roush will join us to talk about the rankings, and as you said earlier today, Chris, only 3 Big 12
That's
teams
right, yeah,
in
the top 25.
Unbelievable.
Coach, basketball is now kind of taking the spotlight.
Well, you know, when you take a look at what's going on in basketball through the state of Oklahoma, not only on the college level, but on the professional level in Oklahoma City, and then the high school level throughout the state, great.
Yeah, my good friend Jeff Metters, who did an excellent job as host of the National Finals Rodeo, the big national telecast, 10 days in Las Vegas, the start of the month of December. We'll have Jeff and I did a special little recap of it and had a trip down memory lane as well. So Jeff Metters, NFL wrap-up, also part of the show. And Gil, this follows you, the Tulsa Public Schools Athletics Hall of Fame is coming up soon, and we've now announced all of this year's inductees.
Chris, it'll be our 6th annual Hall of Fame, the January the 25th at the Marriott Southern Hills, and it is really going to be a great. We have 14 that we'll talk about later today going in, and that makes the total group now 77 who have been inducted into the TPS Athletic Hall of Fame.
And JV, if there's anything better to warm you up than talking baseball, and Wayne McCombs, our good friend, is going to talk about that and the big Claremore Field of Dreams baseball banquet coming up later this month.
Well, listen, he puts on a great banquet for baseball. I always go over there, you visit with George Frazier.
That's right.
He's going to be there. Ralph Terry's going to be there. Steve Bowling. I mean, all of the people that are right here that have played professional baseball and on the major league level, it's just a great evening.
Great event coming up also later this month here in Oklahoma, the Oklahoma Special Olympics Winter Games. Got a couple of guests to talk about that. And we'll have, Gil, our OK Sports Scene. We'll have our player and coach for the month of December to announce.
Barry Lewis will be with us, and of course Barry and Mike Brown give us those recommendations, and 2 great ones this time. They're unbelievable.
Okay, guys, let's start with some of our hot topic discussions. I guess we had to wrap up college football. And we tape on a Tuesday morning. We didn't usually tape Mondays, but we had to wait for the national championship game, and it was worth staying up for. Give us some of your impressions of the Alabama overtime win over Georgia.
You know, it was, I think, the epitome of college athletics, the atmosphere that they had there in Atlanta. And I really believe that a lot of chagrin in the state of Oklahoma after watching that game, because what if
yeah.
the Oklahoma Sooners could have been right there with Alabama and or Georgia, and it's unfortunate, but what a great football game for the freshmen of Alabama. It's unbelievable. And of course, we were most intense in watching Josh Jacobs, our McLean graduate, number 8, and he was in the game quite often and everything, but boy, do they have some great young players coming at Alabama.
Coach, it's amazing. It was a freshman quarterback throwing to a freshman receiver, and the top rusher was a freshman running back. True freshman.
But you know what really surprised me was the confidence that he showed after it was over and they were asking him questions. I mean, he was just sitting there waiting, and when his time came, he certainly produced. I thought it was one of the most incredible games, along with the one with Oklahoma, and I still understand why did they kick the ball the way they did, but I'm sure there was a reason.
Yeah, it was a bad call. Squib kick, and then it was, as Lincoln Riley later said, not a good call, and it was also poorly executed. So that really, they were a 17-point lead. They had all the momentum. They're going to get the ball back to start the second half of the Rose Bowl, and that just didn't work out. But Oklahoma State played well, got us a bowl victory.
I thought that they really did, and of course, you know, it's going to be interesting, I think, where their quarterback, Mason Rudolph, goes in the draft, because he's a prototypical, physical-looking quarterback for the NFL. And so it'll be interesting to see the comparison of him and Baker Mayfield, who they say is too short, can't win at that level. And, of course, I watched Drew Brees, I think, win this weekend, and he was too short.
Yeah, that's right. I want to congratulate also Mason Rudolph was named the Fellowship of Christian Athletes College Football Player of the Year. Well-deserved, Mason, great character kid. And wish him well. He's also #1 quarterback on many of these draft boards over this USC and UCLA kid.
He will be too.
College basketball is off to a good start too, JV. Our Big Four here all playing well, and OU has really made some headlines.
Well, when you take a look at what OU has done, I was not surprised that they lost at West Virginia, because you're not going to continue to win. And as a result of that, I think their practices will increase. And then when you take a look at what's happened at Tulsa, now Tulsa has played some pretty good basketball this year, and they played some pretty bad basketball. And I think OSU is improving every game, and they're going to be tough when it gets down to the end. They'll get an invitation. And ORU, hey, they've jumped in there in their conference and won a couple of 3 games. So, hey, we're going to have some good basketball.
Let's take a look at our AP final college football poll for 2017. And it starts with, of course, Alabama, Georgia 1-2. Oklahoma ended up number 3 in front of Clemson. Then we have TCU number 9 from the Big 12, and the other Big 12 team, Oklahoma State number 14. We'll be back with a special guest, John Roush, to talk more college football. But first, on Jimmy's Egg. Jimmy's Egg is the place for breakfast and lunch. It opens 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. One of the feature items they're featuring this coming month is Jimmy's Egg's All-American Bacon Cheeseburger and Fries. You can get it at 6 in the morning if you want. Just $5.99 Monday through Friday. Jimmy's Egg has locations all the way across the state of Oklahoma. We can tell you about 3 in the Tulsa Metro location. 3948 South Peoria, 1198 to 82 South Memorial Drive in Bixby. We were just out there the other day. And guys, we were meeting at we have one in Broken Arrow as well. Jimmy's Egg just opened restaurants, by the way, in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and Springfield, Missouri. Jimmy's Egg, enjoy it. They're our major sponsor here on Oklahoma Sports Scene.
Sammy, I need your help with something.
Okay.
'Twas the night before Christmas, went all through the lot. Not a salesman was stirring.
They all said Sammy Caleb is really hot.
No one ever said that, Sammy. The customers were nestled, all snug in their Hondas.
While others hailed Sammy is the strongest.
Okay, this Christmas poem isn't working. Let's take a look at Happy Honda Day deals.
Like 0.9% APR financing on the 2017 Pilot.
Don Carlton Honda, family owned and operated for over 40 years.
It's got to be real barbecue, right? Not some frozen meat cooked who knows where, who knows when, and then trucked in. No, it's got to be the finest cuts. It's got to be a lot of choices, like 9 different meats. It's got to be fast for dine-in, carry-out, or catering. It's got to be smoked fresh right there that day over aged pecan wood. It's got to be the place where all the barbecue wannabes take a back seat, because they can't compete. It's got to be real barbecue, right? It's got to be Billy Sims.
Billy Sims Barbecue. Eat like a champion today.
Ditchwitz, 5 words or less.
Making the impossible possible.
Technology you can't live without.
Most versatile equipment ever made.
Customer service and support.
Reliable, productive, ground-chewing machines.
We're in this together.
We're back on Oklahoma Sports Scene, and joining us a very special guest, former All-American lineman at the University of Oklahoma, and great friend of ours, John Roush. John, good to have you with us on Sports Scene, and Dave, we have some great memories together. You and I both. 74 was my first year covering Oklahoma.
Yes, you did a great job on our highlight film and during the season. It was a season to be remembered.
Surely was. The 74 first national championship team for Barry Switzer went on back-to-back, 74-75. John, what made that 74 team so special? Of course, a team nobody saw.
Well, because of that incident at the beginning of the season, Barry said, we're not on TV, we can't do this, we can't do that, but he said, but we can win the national championship. So go after it. And so that was the mental picture that Coach put in our minds, and it proved to be true. That at the end, that there were still some undefeated teams at the end, and both of those teams got defeated. But before the season started, UPI had voted not to rank anybody that was
on probation
in that situation.
Yes.
And there was only one team that would be ranked. That would be us. So it was a slap against us. But AP said they'd rank us. So their national champion was USC 10-1-1.
For that time with Oklahoma.
Yeah, and we were the only undefeated team that year. So it was really fun.
God.
What do you think about this year's team?
Well, a surprise at running back. All of a sudden, Sermon and Anderson, unbelievable efforts. And then the offensive line came together and performed extremely well until the third quarter of the Rose Bowl. There were some deceptive stunts that they failed to pick up, attributed to Georgia.
Yeah.
But overall, a great season for a first-year coach.
John, you mentioned Barry Switzer. going back, kind of tell us one of the great stories that you will never forget that happened with you and Barry Switzer.
Well, there was a few. 73, we went undefeated. We first time in 16 years that an OU team had gone undefeated, and so we're at Boulder. They had beaten us the year before. That's the only loss for me in 4 years. But before we went to bed on Friday night, Switzer said, Coach Mallory was first-year coach, and Joe Washington had silver shoes. And because of that, he said, Oklahoma's undisciplined. They're on this, they're on that. And Coach said, they left one out. We're undefeated. Go to your rooms. And he'd come up with those sayings that just, put a mental picture in your mind. And it was very exciting to play with a bunch of guys that I was privileged to play with. And it's hard to believe we didn't pass. And we averaged like 450 yards rushing.
Wishbone days.
And the reverses and the counters, that was our bread and butter. And the backside cut. I mean, Timmy Welch would get 10 yards every time he touched the ball.
Unbelievable.
It was.
John, you're talking about recruiting at OU. You're a Colorado kid, weren't you?
Yes, and Gene Hoshaver was
Gene.
the only coach that came in the wrestling room my junior year. Not too many coaches go in the wrestling room. And he had his blue bonnet ring on. It was glittering, and he wanted to meet me, and so he started recruiting me my junior year. Okay. And there was another guy, Paul Krause, that came with me to OU, and we were the last freshman class to be captive. Freshmen became eligible the next year in '72.
Interesting, as we have morphed through the different eras of college football, and now your home state is in the Pac-12. What do you think about the demise of the old Big 8 and now what we have with the Big 12?
Well, I guess money talks.
The TV people.
TV. Yeah. When Nebraska went to the Big 10, I thought, why? And then Colorado going to the Pac-12.
Milewater, Missouri, going to the SEC.
And then Missouri. Money.
Yeah.
Well, and then A&M, they didn't want to be in Texas's shadow, so they went. But money drives all those decisions.
It seems like what you said about Barry Switzer. Every time you talk about him, or every time that you visit with him, it seems like there's a little point that would come out that would just inspire a football team. And you've said that.
I know. He just, two incidences before the season started. And that incident. But one of the other incidents I was telling about the awesome hit that I put on. There was a player at Colorado named John Bad Dude Stearns. And he was calling me names during the whole first half because it was my first game starting, and it was at Boulder. And man, he was just trying to intimidate me. And so in the third quarter, I'm downfield. I busted the play. But I hadn't practiced with the varsity for a month. I was running card plays before they elevated me out of redshirt. And all of a sudden I turned, and he's coming full blast at me. And I thought, okay, now or never. And I braced myself, and we did like that. He did a backflip. It was the hardest hit that I'd ever received or delivered. I could barely make it back to the huddle. He got up and he said, "Great hit." He never talked to me again.
Well, we're going to talk a lot more with John Rauch as we continue here on Oklahoma Sportscene, brought to you by Jimmy Zig. But first, the coach has an update from the Greater Tulsa Reporter papers.
Well, the GTR, of course, enforced camera that comes out once a month, and it is 6 different ones here in the metropolitan area. If you haven't had an opportunity to read the sports, to read the society page, to read anything that you might have of interest, you can find in the GTR. So I would encourage you, Wherever you are in the metropolitan area of Tulsa, pick up a GTR. You'll enjoy it.
At Rogers State University, we keep things personal.
It all starts here.
We make sure our graduates get the most out of their education.
RSU has campuses in Claremore, Bartlesville, and Pryor, with on-campus housing and a wide variety of programs to suit your needs.
It all starts here.
Rogers State University.
Remington Park Party Planners, how can I help you?
Racing season might be over, but the jockeys are staying behind for party season.
A wedding in an Eclipse Room? Sure.
25 for a business meeting? No problem.
Class reunion? Yes, ma'am. There's just one catch. You gotta invite all of us.
Please ignore that. You do not have to come.
She actually wants you all to come.
Quarter horse racing returns March 9th, but at Remington, you can party anytime.
Jimmy Zaig welcomes you back to Oklahoma Sports Scene and another segment with John Roush, the former OU All-American lineman, played for the Sooners 73, 74, 75, back-to-back national championships, undefeated, lost what, one game, John?
Yes.
Your entire career there. I need to go back and think about it because I was fortunate to cover my first years in Oklahoma, back-to-back national championship teams with you guys, and I think of the guys we've lost now. Great guys, great friends of ours, Steve Davis, Jim Elrod especially.
Yes, Steve married my wife and I.
Oh,
he was a Baptist licensed minister, and we had quite the wedding. Father Gear participated. He's kind of into the community.
Yes.
So I was raised Catholic. Rhonda was raised Baptist. So we had a great wedding. And then Jimbo was unbelievable. Some of the plays that he did, him and Leroy on that side, nobody ran on that side.
Yeah. And I remember with the play that sticks to my mind in 73, that incredible punt return in that tie with USC that Joe Washington made that just everybody was just amazed at. He ran all over the field and he lost yards or gained 2 or 3 yards. It was crazy.
I'm on the sideline. I'm saying, Joe, no. And he's almost to the goal line because, I mean, their defense was huge. And I'm thinking, man, if we start on the goal line, they're going to rip our heads off. And then all of a sudden he comes out. I don't know if he had his helmet on, did he? Or did
he kept it on there.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay, well, he comes out of that, man, and runs it back to the 50, man. I was thinking, oh, my gosh, thank you. But, yeah, that was a tremendous
great memories
game.
What do you think the future for Oklahoma football is?
Up and up. I think we're going to have a great recruiting year just because of our performance last year. Our offensive line has greatly improved this year. And then our defense showed some improvement at the end, but we still need to
plug some holes.
Yeah,
get more physical, they say.
Yes.
Well, defense in the Big 12 is tough anyway.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Video game offenses are tough to handle. David?
Well, you know, anytime I think about OU, I just wonder what is going to happen within the coaching ranks. And I think we're going to see some movement this year that maybe we didn't expect.
Well, I haven't heard anything, but I think there'll probably be some changes.
Well, you know, Mike Stoops got a vote of confidence from Lincoln Riley just the other day and stuff, so I don't know if there's going to be a change there or not. I think he's kind of resolved the fact that they just played different offenses in this conference. But it was disappointing. I thought we had a better chance against the Georgia team that ran, was physical, than trying to chase an option quarterback who could throw the ball around on us. But John, it clearly was that we couldn't stop them. And it's hard to imagine. We jump out on those guys up by 17, and then that crazy kick at the end of the first half there when they tried to squib the kick and it messed up, and that really turned everything around.
You know, Coach Riley said yesterday that he said, you know, when you win, people look at your people. So he's well aware, and of course, you know, with the NCAA rule now going to 10, he also indicated that he was not going to be really very quick about making that decision on what that 10th coach would be. And it's kind of interesting because I coached at Kansas State, and we had 16 at that time.
Vince Gibson.
Vince Gibson.
Vince Gibson enthusiasm.
Purple Pride.
Purple Pride. Lynn Dickey.
But that was there during that time, and now we cut it back to 8, and then they went to 9, and now we're edging back to 10.
Yeah.
And Saban started a lot of that stuff because they were the first ones to have quality control coaches, and that meant that the position coach would only look at what the quality control coach would show him. He said, this is a running back you need to look at. So the coaches, they took them back and put them back into coaching and not as much into recruiting until it got down to the yes or no end.
John, we've all been trying to figure out how we can get a job where you don't do a very good job, then you get fired and they pay you millions of dollars. Just amazing. You see some of the Brett Bielema's getting $14.5 million. Todd Graham got over $12 million to leave Arizona State. And now they just signed, of course, John Gooden for $100 million for 10 years.
His second
for the
go
Raiders.
around.
Yeah.
His second go around.
And he got fired from both Oakland and Tampa.
Yeah, I would just say it doesn't happen in the real world.
That's for sure.
I would have liked to have a few more months severance. Yeah, I was talking to Dave Rader after he left Alabama. I said, "Well, what are you doing?" He said, "I've got 9 more months of severance." Whoa.
Yeah. Different game, isn't it, Coach?
It's totally different, and as we stated earlier, it's all about television.
Yeah.
I can remember Bobby Knight, for instance, in basketball. He said, nobody's going to tell me what time my basketball game is going to be on Saturday in Bloomington. Yeah. Well, they did.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the money pays the way, and that's
money
it.
talks.
That's it. And you have to, and they've done a great job to promote college athletes. I don't think there's any question about that. But at some point in time, the money has gotten ridiculous.
John, in the finalist poll, Alabama 1, Georgia 2, Oklahoma 3. Did they get it right this year?
I believe so. I mean, I thought we'd be lower, but that was good. I was glad of that.
You have something for John for us?
I sure do, John. We're glad you joined us this morning, and Jimmy's Egg is our big-time sponsor this week, and we want you to enjoy breakfast.
Okay,
at Jimmy's Egg.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, John. Best to the
Thank
family.
you.
Have a great year. Thank you.
Right.
John Rauch, our guest, the former OU All-American, with us on Oklahoma Sports Scene, brought to you by Jimmy's Egg. When we come back, I had a chance to visit earlier this week with the voice of the National Finals Rodeo, longtime friend of mine, Jeff Meadows. We'll be back to talk Cowboys next.
Welcome to Jimmy's Egg. Come on in.
For more than 30 years, Jimmy's Egg has been starting people's day off right with hot, fresh, made-to-order food. Our eggs are fresh, cracked to order every time, and there are over 40,000 ways to craft your own omelet. With signature favorites like our meat lovers skillet or decadent cinnamon roll pancakes, you won't leave hungry. Breakfast and lunch is available every day from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so stop in today and let our friendly staff serve you.
Stop by and see us sometime.
I'm Kirk Smith, and this is my story. I'm a captain of TU's track and cross country teams, and I'm a Rhodes Scholar. My life's pretty simple. I run, I work, and then I run some more. My research focuses on combating climate change by driving down the cost of energy storage. And that's my story. So far.
We were trying to think of an impressive commercial to introduce new premium peppered pork belly at Billy Sims Barbecue. Cat videos are popular, so we thought maybe.
Kitty, kitty, are you hungry? What would you like?
Premium peppered pork belly.
From where?
Billy Sims. But that didn't really work, so we'll just say this. Introducing premium peppered pork belly at Billy Sims Barbecue. The most tender cut of pork. Slow smoked on site every day for a rich bacony kind of flavor. Only at Billy Sims Barbecue.
Celebrate your home today at Bowen's Discount Carpet for our Shop and Compare sale. Take advantage of our guaranteed lowest prices you can find. Great deals on new Shaw floors and a huge variety of brands and colors that you will have to see to believe. Let Shaw Floors spice up your space along with 36 years of experience, and the beauty of your floors will shine. Come out to Bowen's, where we refuse to be undersold.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene with an old-time cowboy friend of mine, and had a great time together. Jeff Meadows, he's the voice of the National Finals Rodeo. Mike, how many years now, Jeff?
Yeah, I did my first one in 1991. So
wasn't I around that time too?
You were, yeah, and I have some footage, and I'm sure it'll find its way into the segment before it's all said and done.
Please tell me I didn't have a cowboy hat on at least.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln as ESPN welcomes you to our special delayed telecast of the 10th and final go-round of the 33rd National Finals Rodeo.
Jeff, you and I go back a long ways, Channel 2 days and on to WinterCom and
no,
great times.
We go back further than that, actually.
Oh, my gosh.
We go back to a sports banquet in Tallahena, Oklahoma in 1979.
That I came and hosted?
Yeah, and it's, what's weird is you spoke at my own sports banquet. I was a junior in high school.
Right.
I decided that day, after hearing you, I was going to be a sportscaster.
Well, you should have aimed higher.
Oh, I should have. and you probably won't remember it, but the old Tulsa Tribune, I was playing in the All-State football game.
That's right, yeah.
And a guy came and interviewed me because he wanted a small-town kid.
Yeah.
And
my job.
Yeah, the headline was, All-State game, last hurrah for Metters. And I said in there, I wanted Chris Lincoln's job at Channel 8. Again, I should have aimed higher.
Watch what you asked for, that's right. Well, so many years at Channel 2, of course. Our good friend Al Jerkins and that group there. And then on to WinterCom. We were so glad to get you involved with WinterCom, and really spurred you along. Now your own company, Geronimo Productions, and of course they are the production team for the National Finals Rodeo. It's been great.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. You've been there in 1991, and so much has changed since then in terms of what goes on in Las Vegas and the feel. It's become the biggest 10 days of the year for the city. It's really integrated into Las Vegas and the fiber of Las Vegas now. And the prize money is over $10 million, $1 million a day.
Wow.
And since you were last there and part of the broadcast team, it's become major Las Vegas entertainment.
How do you explain that? In a city like Las Vegas, you think obviously the casinos, the shows, which is like the main attraction in Las Vegas, these incredible casinos and hotels. Then the Cowboys take over a town, and just the hardest ticket in town.
It really is. I think they've sold 320 consecutive performances, and it's it's kind of a collision of the cowboy world and the country music acts that they bring in. But it is far and away, regardless, the biggest event in the cowboy world, bar none.
We watched the show, and also a lot of celebrities there.
Oh yeah, all kinds, and Mitt Romney comes through. I think he's one of the guys. We're there. Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah, we saw him this year, and I only see him if they put him on the screen. But yeah, it's just kind of constant. And a lot of thoroughbred guys.
That's right.
Sean Davis, who's the general manager of the NFR, he always has in some of the marquee thoroughbred guys.
It's always fascinating to me, and not surprising, I guess, but how many Oklahoma Cowboys make their mark at that highest level?
Yeah, Texas has a lot more guys there than Oklahoma, but there's been some great world champions, and Sage Kimsey right now, he's won 4 consecutive bull riding.
And he's what, 23 years old?
Yeah, and what's crazy about him is he's won more than $1 million. He won more than $1 million in 2017 from the different associations that he rides in, the PRCA, the NFR, and so much other stuff, but banked $1 million in 2017.
Talk about this young bronc rider from Welsh.
Yeah, he's kind of in that group there's a lot of that young guns that have kind of made their mark. A lot of Canadians have jumped in there. He's going to have his work cut out for him, I think, to keep pace and have a chance to win that world championship. But he's certainly one of those marquee guys that I think we'll be watching a lot in the coming years.
Hardy Braden from Welsh, Oklahoma. And then the all-around champion cowboy, that's the biggest honor, of course, the biggest money earner, another Oklahoman.
Yeah, Tough Cooper, and some in Oklahoma, but a lot of ties to Texas. His dad was a legendary Roy Cooper.
Oh, sure,
they call him Super Looper.
Great roper of all time.
When you watch those guys rope today, in the old days they would rope and get off on the left side of the horse. Have to come under the rope.
Right.
Roy's the guy that started roping it and getting off on the right side of the rope, but he won all-around titles. He won tie-down roping titles, and I think Tough had won 3 tie-down roping world championships coming into this year, and he beat his brother-in-law, the legend Trevor Brazil, for that all-around title in 17.
Yeah, one of the sections I always enjoy watching in the telecast is when you have the guys from the Justin Sports Medicine Group, and they put up on the screen these incredible list of injuries. I'm not talking sprains or bruises. We're talking ACLs, popped shoulders, broken this, broken that, and what do they always say? They're going to ride.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Tanny Freeman, who kind of heads that up, says the injuries that he sees in rodeo are like what you'd see in a car crash or major falls and things down that line. and these guys just continue to, to get on and ride. And, it's just 8 seconds or 10 seconds. You think you can do anything for that long, but that can get to be a long period of time.
And major stars, of course, will have a turf toe and miss 6 games or something. With the Cowboys, you hit the dirt, there's no checks.
Yeah, and no guaranteed money.
Yeah.
And the Ettbauers are famous. They're from Oklahoma. They're Bronc riders.
Right, sure.
And probably the best story down that line is Robert Ettbauer, who bucked off a horse, and literally the horse hoof hit it. It's like it took a meat cleaver and cut his thumb off. He got up and milled through the dirt, and Billy was watching his brother, and he said, I knew something was up. And as he came out the end gate there, he said, what's up with you? And he goes, I lost my thumb. And literally they sewed it on. He was riding again within a month.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Jeff, fantastic job. So
absolutely.
proud of you what you've accomplished.
Well, thanks so much.
I'm glad you got a little goal higher than Channel 8 Sports guys. So.
Yeah, the next time we do this, it needs to be reversed, and let me interview you. So.
I appreciate it. Jeff Meadows, special guest of ours, the Oklahoma Sports Scene, the voice of the National Final Rodeo with Geronimo Productions right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Welcome back to Sports Scene. We're going to talk about the Tulsa Public Schools Athletics Hall of Fame. This is the 6th annual Athletic Hall of Fame. We have 14 inductees this year, and that brings the number to 77 over the 6 years that we've had the Hall of Fame. This year's class is outstanding class. We have Bill Van Berkelio as a legend. Billy Van Berkelio played at Rogers and played on the 1960 undefeated team. Went on to the University of Tulsa and played. And today, Billy Van is a doctor, still practicing at age 75 in Corpus Christi, Texas. Granville Liggins, one of my teammates at Oklahoma, and a Tulsa Booker T. Washington graduate. We used to ride back and forth to Norman on weekends in my old 54 Chevy. Granville lives in Canada, played in the Canadian Football League.
He was OU's first two-sport All-American.
Two-sport All-American in wrestling
football,
and football. John Walton, a tremendous player in the National Football League and an Oklahoma graduate, and lives in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. Clay Martin is the head basketball coach at Jinx, but is also an umpire
NFL.
in the NFL, and has distinguished himself he was a Nathan Hale graduate, and has distinguished himself as a really outstanding high school basketball coach. Tommy Hudspeth. Tommy Hudspeth, a legend in Tulsa athletics, there's no question about that. Coached the Detroit Lions, coached at Tulsa Central. Started his coaching career there. And of course, we all knew him at the end of his career when he came back to the Tulsa University and was the Hurricane
and
Club.
JV, you can't find a nicer guy than Coach Hudspeth.
Well, when you talk about Tommy Hudspeth from Afton, Oklahoma, he was one of the most straight, honest coaches I have ever been around, and one of the best I've ever been around.
Lost him, but his lovely wife Ruth Ann will be there, right? The ceremony coach.
She will be to accept.
Yeah.
Another female goes in this year. Jonita Ford spent 33 years at Edison High School. 30 as the head girls basketball coach from Tallahassee, Oklahoma. Lives here, and of course her son and her husband, who was the athletic director at Rogers and at Webster, their son plays for the University of Purdue.
And she was 33 years at Edison?
At Edison High School.
How many years for you there?
I was only there 4 years. No, 6 years.
Okay. Wow.
Well, he thought it was 4, but it was a lot longer than that. Danny Morgan, the head baseball coach at Jenks High School, and of course, a legendary coach at Okmulgee and the athletic director at Okmulgee, and a Tulsa Webster grad. Gene Iba, obviously the Iba name in basketball, and Gene, a Central grad, coached at Pittsburgh State, outstanding coach in NCAA Division II, and we're looking forward to have him in this year. Our first journalist goes in this year, Terrell Lester. Terrell Lester, 30 years at the Tulsa World and covered high school athletics forever, and serves on our Hall of Fame committee now. Joey Robinson, a Memorial grad. Terrell was a Central grad, by the way. Joey Robinson, a Memorial grad, lives in Houston, Texas. Played at Texas A&M on the Southwest Conference Championship team. Eton Thomas, I think everybody knows about Eton and his career. Obviously, a Booker T graduate and an NBA player. Bill Goldberg,
wow,
two-time All-Stater from Edison in football and wrestling, and of course a star in the WWE for many years. Fantastic guy, and by the way, he's doing some fundraising now for Edison High School athletics. So it's great. And Clint Hill from East Central, interesting combination. He was a basketball soccer player, and today works in the athletic department at Furman University.
All right, Coach, quickly sell us some tickets here. When's the event?
January 25th at the Marriott Southern Hills. You can call our office, talk to Lisa at 918-746-6453. Tables are $1,000. The individual tickets $100. Reception at 5:30. Banquet promptly at 6:30 when the bus leaves.
And you saw that master of ceremonies you don't pay?
The master of ceremonies, in spite of all of our trials and tribulations to try to find someone, Chris will be back as our master of ceremonies.
You double my salary again.
Doubled it again,
Appreciate
absolutely.
that, Coach.
And Gil, you know what is so important to me about the Hall of Fame is that every one of those that you would talk to, they're in several others, but none of them mean any more to them than their high school. Also,
JB, that's the greatest part of my job in this particular area when I call these individuals, people like Spencer Tillman and Tony Casillas, and they're speechless on the other end of the phone because they can't believe TPS is really recognizing them.
We'll be back with a special Olympics section coming up next.
Sammy, I need your help with something.
Okay.
'Twas the night before Christmas, went all through the lot. Not a salesman was stirring.
They all said Sammy Caleb is really hot.
No one ever said that, Sammy. The customers were nestled, all snug in their Hondas.
While others hailed Sammy is the strongest.
Okay, this Christmas poem isn't working. Let's take a look at Happy Honda Day deals.
Like 0.9% APR financing on the 2017 Pilot.
Don Carlton Honda, family owned and operated for over 40 years.
Rising from the plains of Oklahoma is a destination for scholars and thinkers, dreamers and doers. This is where hope, hard work, and integrity create tomorrow's catalysts for change. And excellence is the standard demanded not only of your head, but your heart. This is Oklahoma State University, America's brightest orange.
Ditch Witch, 5 words or less.
Making the impossible possible.
Technology you can't live without.
Most versatile equipment ever made.
Customer service and support.
Reliable, productive, ground-chewing machines.
We're in this together.
This is a very special segment on Oklahoma Sportscene presented by Jimmy Zay. It's all about the Winter Special Olympic Games. A lot of great guests to introduce you to here. This is Scott Roney, who will be a Special Olympic competing athlete. This is their coach here, who's done a great job, Kyle Blomer, with the Pathway Panthers. Off to my side here, the guy that says a unified partner. We'll explain that a little more to you. He is a gentleman, I've been practicing this, Spencer Wambugu. Close, Spence?
Spurgeon.
Yeah, Spurgeon. I got Wambugo and messed up the first name. Spurgeon Wambugo. And another competing athlete over here is joining us is Patricia Butts. Let's start with you, Coach, to talk about the event itself. January 11th through the 13th. It's going to be held down in Edmond, as well as in Oklahoma City, and of course at the OU campus.
That's right. The Pathways Panthers will be competing in the Edmond portion of the event. It'll be on the 11th, and we will be doing swimming. We're taking 18 athletes from Pathways down to swim.
And one of your top athletes right with us, I get a chance to meet him earlier, is Scott Roney here. Scott, you can see all the medals on him. Scott, how long have you been involved in the program, and what is your specialty?
I've been involved in the Pathways program for 2 years now, and my specialty is I do 25-meter freestyle, 25-meter breaststroke, and 4x25-meter relay. And the relay is an event where you have 4 people who all swim the freestyle, and they do 25 meters each.
And Spurgeon, you're, I said, a unified partner. Explain what your role is to help these Special Olympic athletes.
So a unified partner is a person who doesn't have any disabilities, just there to support. I'm there to support Scott with any sport that he wants to participate in, and it's a fantastic position to get involved in.
Patricia Butch, you have a long-time Special Olympics competitor. Tell us about your background in this event.
Well, I was born and raised in Texas, and I actually done like a 100-meter run in the 50, and now I'm about to start golf now, and I'm going to learn how to do that.
And Spurgeon, you're going to be helping with golf this year,
yes,
too, right?
Sir. Yes, I am.
Well, Coach, talk about the formation of this team. How many years have we had the Pathway Panthers, and what's the involvement with the community?
So Pathways has been around for 9 years. When I started at Pathways, I was an athlete. I was a swimmer growing up. You know, at Jinx High School, I swam on their swim team, so I was very familiar with swimming. A lot of our other coaches were familiar, so we were like, let's get involved in Special Olympics. Our students love Special Olympics. We've done that for a while. So we have competed for 6 years in Special Olympics, and especially swimming. Right after that, we began doing track and field. We wanted to do sports that were unique for our program that other programs around did not offer. Swimming was definitely one. We're the only swim team in the Tulsa area, and track and field was another one because we wanted to do sports that were, you know, physical activity. So where they weren't doing just standing around, they were actually moving in motion and getting fit and healthy.
Scott, what has this program meant to you being part of Special Olympics?
It's meant a lot to me. For a long time, they didn't let autism in, and so because of that, I sat around my house and just was bored and gained a whole bunch of weight. And then whenever I started Pathways, and whenever I started Special Olympics with Pathways, I've been able to lose 50 pounds in 2 years.
Well, congratulations. We wish you all great success in Edmond. They're taking part in the swimming competition, the Winter Special Olympics, coming up 11th to the 13th of January. We'll have a report for you coming up on the sports scene as well. Guys, thanks for joining us. And ladies as well. Good luck to you guys there. And now, since you're being all healthy and thinking about being healthy, Jimmy's Egg can help you with that too, by the way. They have healthy eating options there at Jimmy's Egg. Like, for instance, there's smoked turkey omelet served with fresh fruit and English muffin. Also, hot oatmeal with berry. They have a bowl of hot oatmeal with fresh strawberries, whole blueberries, and a little drizzle of cream cheese icing just for fun. Just 450 calories. So you can eat healthy at Jimmy's Egg. Breakfast and lunch, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. That sounds great, but I'm going to go for the garbage thing anyway. That's fantastic. We'll be back with more Oklahoma Sports Scene. Here's some more messages for you.
Sammy, I need your help with something.
Okay.
'Twas the night before Christmas, went all through the lot. Not a salesman was stirring.
They all said Sammy Caleb is really hot.
No one ever said that, Sammy. The customers were nestled, all snug in their Hondas.
While others hailed Sammy is the strongest.
Okay, this Christmas poem isn't working. Let's take a look at Happy Honda Day deals.
Like 0.9% APR financing on the 2017 Pilot.
Don Carlton Honda, family owned and operated for over 40 years.
Celebrate your home today at Bowen's Discount Carpet for our Shop and Compare sale. Take advantage of our guaranteed lowest prices you can find. Great deals on new Shaw floors and a huge variety of brands and colors that you will have to see to believe. Let Shaw Floors spice up your space along with 36 years of experience, and the beauty of your floors will shine. Come out to Bowen's, where we refuse to be undersold.
I bring Tulsa's voice to Oklahoma City and Washington. I build relationships with elected officials and community stakeholders to develop policies that grow the Tulsa region. loved my time at Rogers State University. The personal relationships I developed with professors really helped develop a skill set that would help me serve the Tulsa region that I care about. It all started for me at Rogers State University.
Well, no doubt about it, we've had a very frigid winter here in the state of Oklahoma. Nothing makes you feel warmer, though, than talk some baseball. So good to have with us Wayne McCombs to talk about one of our feature events we look forward to every about this time of year because it makes us think of baseball and warmer weather. That's, of course, the Claremore Field of Dreams Baseball Banquet. This time, what, the 14th year? Is that right?
14th
wow,
annual.
Wayne.
Been very
Give us some of the
fortunate.
information.
Well, our special guest is Phil Niekro, of course, who's a Hall of Fame pitcher, pitched for 22 years, and he was famous for throwing the knuckleball,
That's right.
which he played for 22 years and was very effective. He won 318 games, which is an amazing feat, has over 3,000 strikeouts, and was an all-star 5 times and pitched a no-hitter. So just a tremendous player, and he will be at our banquet coming up on Monday, January the 22nd in Claremore.
What's the gist of the fundraising for this banquet?
Well, we were thinking about how we could raise some funds and have awareness. First off, we were thinking, well, we need to keep providing upkeep for our baseball park, the American Legion Park. We call it Legendary Legion Field, which I think either Claremore or Bartlesville has the best amateur baseball field in the state. Bartlesville's a little bigger, but we beat them on the food at the press box.
Your concessions are much better, yeah.
Which is very important.
That's
okay?
true.
But so we decided, how can we do this? And we thought, well, instead of Claremore just having a banquet for maybe the park, let's include everybody. The more the merrier. So it goes toward the Rogers State baseball program, which of course is Division II, very good baseball, and then goes to the Claremore High School team, and then also for the summer team that plays and money that goes toward the upkeep of the ballpark. This year we did some cosmetic things, weren't too sexy, I guess, but a new pitcher's mound, a new warning track, and things like that, just to make sure the park is kept up. So those are some of the projects that we worked on over the winter.
You know, Steve, what it always just amazes me at the banquet when you start seeing the number of ex-major league players and the number of those who have played professional baseball. I mean, it just seems like that every table has someone that really is close to baseball.
Well, thank you. We do. We have over 30 former baseball celebrities, and most of them still, live in the Tulsa area, which they come here, play for Tulsa or University of Oklahoma or TU or whatever, and they'll stay in this area. So we have, George Frazier is one of our, he's our MC this year. Of course, George played in the major leagues for 10 years from the University of Oklahoma, and now after his broadcasting career is over, he helps with the Oral Roberts baseball program and helps with the pitching camp out at the facility there about 65th and Mingo, and works out there. So we have him. Ralph Terry is coming back again this year.
Oh, great.
One of the funniest guys when he starts telling those Yogi Berra stories and Casey Stengel, and they're not stories, they're true. They're true stories. So he's got a boatload of funny stories, a great guy. And also we will have 2 new players this year. They were from Claremore. Bryce Howell is a pitcher and Matt Watley was a catcher. They both went to Oral Roberts University, had great careers at ORU, and last year signed pro contracts, and they played in the rookie level, like 6 weeks or something is their season. And so they're coming back this year as celebrities, not just one of the kids that sit in the deal. And they were really excited. Oh, we finally, it's like Thanksgiving when you finally get to sit at the grown-up table for Thanksgiving.
Well, when you mention Ralph Terry, it always comes to my mind. I caught Ralph Terry when we were kids, and you could be a blind catcher and catch Ralph Terry. All you had to do is hold your glove up, and he'd throw right in your glove. I mean, incredible.
I've heard those stories you told me, but you didn't tell me you left out the soreness in your hand after catching after catching Ralph Terry.
I think it's great that you do that fundraising. I've been fortunate enough to be able to coach at both of those facilities at Bartlesville and in Claremore. And you're right, Claremore is one of the finest facilities for youth baseball in the state.
Well, there's a lot of volunteers. I just happen to be one of them, okay? There's a lot of volunteers, a lot of businesses that sink money into that facility to make sure it's great. I played, if you could call it played, on that field when high school and all that stuff. So it was there for me. So it's my responsibility to make sure it's there for somebody else now. So.
And people don't realize the cost of maintaining facilities. They have no idea.
I'm telling you, that mound dirt, you just don't go out and dig that up out in somebody's backyard. You have to pay, special stuff for that, and the special lawnmowers that cut the grass just right. So it's an upkeep. And then, of course, you got other expenses like insurance for players in the summer. And so it takes quite a bit. But we have a large group of volunteers that help make the Claremore Baseball Banquet a success.
Give those dates again and the information for tickets.
Okay, it's Monday on January the 22nd. Tickets are available. We still have, at this point, 3 tables open. They're $700 for tables of 8. And you can call Paul Pixley at Pixley Lumber at 341-4223, 341-4223, or Pixley Lumber, ask Paul for tickets for the event. It'll be a great event. We've got Phil Necro is really a humorous man, and he'll tell some great stories. George Frazier will be our master of ceremony, so it'll be a lot of fun.
And we got something from Wayne here, right? He's always giving us gift cards. So
we're glad to have you with us today. And Jimmy's Egg is our sponsor for this segment.
A great place.
And it's a great place to have breakfast.
All right.
You bet.
Thank you so much.
We'll look forward to it, Wayne. And to make you feel a little warmer, by the way, spring training opens up February 23rd, and the Major League Baseball season 2018 on March the 29th. Well, Jimmy's Egg has a chance to, of course, that's the place for breakfast and lunch, but if you can't get there, hey, they'll come to you. That's right, Jimmy Egg now caters hot breakfast, lunch items, any items on their menu. Catering, you'll receive $25 off, though, with a order of $100 or more. So if you want to have a breakfast or lunch meeting, they also have Jimmy's Egg. Let us know they have a meeting room available at no charge to you at their Broken Arrow location. So Jimmy's Egg, open from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., the best place for lunch and breakfast.
At Rogers State University, we keep things personal.
It all starts here.
We make sure our graduates get the most out of their education.
RSU has campuses in Claremore, Bartlesville, and Pryor, with on-campus housing and a wide variety of programs to suit your needs.
It all starts here.
Rogers State University.
Remington Park Party Planners, how can I help you?
Racing season might be over, but the jockeys are staying behind for party season.
A wedding in Eclipse Room? Sure.
25 for a business meeting? No problem.
Class reunion? Yes, ma'am. There's just one catch. You gotta invite all of us.
Please ignore that. You do not have to come.
She actually wants you all to come.
Quarter Horse Racing returns March 9th, but at Remington, you can party anytime.
It's got to be real barbecue, right? Not some frozen meat cooked who knows where, who knows when, and then trucked in. No, it's got to be the finest cuts. It's got to be a lot of choices, like 9 different meats. It's got to be fast for dine-in, carry-out, or catering. It's got to be smoked fresh right there that day over aged pecan wood. It's got to be the place where all the barbecue wannabes take a back seat, because they can't compete. It's got to be real barbecue, right? It's got to be Billy Sims.
Billy Sims Barbecue. Eat like a champion today.
Welcome back to Sports Scene. Now we go into an area that we really look forward to every month, and have our good friend Barry Lewis here from the Tulsa World. He and Mike Brown I consult with, and we look at players and coaches of the month. And this month, who's our player of the month, Barry?
Our player of the month is Will Amos, outstanding quarterback and defensive back from Afton High School. In December, he had 2 incredible playoff games. He rushed for about 800 yards in those 2 games. I mean, it was insane. You're talking about the semifinals and the championship game as he led Afton to the state championship. And he's, besides being an outstanding quarterback, he's also a great defensive back as well. I think he picked off 2 passes in the championship game. He punted. He did it all. And he was a member of our Tulsa World All-State football team as a defensive back. He's committed to Emporia State. Just a sensational season for Will Amos, and he is the player of the month.
Who's our coach of the month?
Coach of the month is Dwayne Bradley, Midwest City boys basketball. He led the Bombers to the Tournament of Champions title. Really an incredible story. Gil, going into the tournament, I would have ranked, if we were seeding, Midwest City 4th out of the 8 teams. I thought they were a long shot to win it. In fact, I was wondering, could they even compete with what I considered the big 3 in 5A, Booker T, Memorial, and Midwest City, Carl Albert? But they did more than compete. They won it. When we projected, when they were invited last year to this year's Tournament of Champions, we were expecting they would have Keyshawn Embry, signed with Arkansas, and Jalen Redmond, who wound up signing to play football for OU. Neither of them were with the team, but they didn't miss a beat despite losing 2 major college athletes. They wound up winning the Tournament of Champions. So Coach Bradley, who's done a great job for a decade at Midwest City, is the Coach of the Month.
Thank you. All right, good job.
When I called him, he was actually blown away. He couldn't believe that he'd been selected. And you're right. I tell you, when you look at that field that we had for the Tournament of Champions, especially in the boys, my goodness. And that Thursday night, which we knew would be outstanding, the semifinals of outstanding basketball games for high school. And I think the thing that impressed me was the number of college coaches that were in attendance, because everybody knew the players were right there at the Mabee Center.
Well, again, Barry, thanks for joining us. Thanks to Open the Tulsa World and naming our December Coach of the Month. It is Dwayne Bradley of Midwest City. And again, our Athlete of the Month, Will Amos of Afton High School. Well, it's time now for our parting shots, and Coach Gil Cloud leads us off.
My parting shot today is about a person that I met about a month ago. These days, a lot of people want to do things for people. We had one of our soccer coaches called a local businesswoman in town and wanted to know if she could get a donation for the soccer team to purchase some equipment. And the person came out and said, well, let me meet the team. I want to meet your team. I want to be involved a little bit more than what you think. Person came out, and this person is Jill Donovan of Rustic Cuff. Jill Donovan came out to the Rogers soccer team, challenged them to a penalty kick kickoff where she kicked against the 35 players on the team and donated $20 for every goal that they saved. And then at that point, after that was over, she took the team over to Target and they bought toys for underprivileged kids. Before they left to Target, she said, we're going to make one more stop. And they went by a local soccer distributor here in town. And she purchased over $20,000 worth of equipment for the Rogers soccer team. There's not many people like Jill Donovan, Rustic Cuff. The kindness effect is certainly in effect in Tulsa.
And by the way, my wife Becky's a big supporter of Rustic Cup. I want to let you know that too. What's your parting shot, JV?
Well, my parting shot has to do with football and basketball. As you well know, we had a great football season on the college level. OSU and OU, very good. And University of Tulsa was much better than their record indicated, and I think they were very fun to watch. But now let's move to basketball. And when we take a look at what's going on the high school level, the thing that bothers me is the number of people that come. Not many. And I'd like to encourage you, as a support of the school in your district, or where you may have a friend or a child that is playing, go support them. We need your help to make those kids' life a lot better.
Absolutely, Coach. Get out there and support those basketball teams. My parting shot has to do with the biggest indoor auto racing event in the world. That's right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's the Chili Bowl. It's Chili Bowl time again in January. Emmett Hahn does a great job with that. We have 352 drivers representing 39 states, along with 5 foreign countries. And it is some kind of action, that 5th mile dirt oval. They have not only dirt track drivers, but NASCAR drivers, sprint car drivers. It's amazing the talent they get in there. So come on out and enjoy the Chili Bowl. All right, we have a presentation real quick for Barry.
Barry, we almost forgot, but we didn't. Your Jimmy's Egg for this month. Have a great breakfast at Jimmy's Egg.
I will. Love Jimmy's Egg.
Thanks for joining us on Oklahoma Sports Scene. We'll see you next time.